What is going on, people, and welcome back to Spurs Down Under. Welcome to the show, guys. Second show for us here from Spurs on the Hotspur Hood. And I'm joined again by Brad and Delane. Boys, how are we doing on this fine Saturday night here in Australia?
Good, brother. Good.
Yeah, good, man. Yeah, good.
Brad, you're looking very red. I think you're on the wrong channel if you're going to be all red. But it's a lovely little background. It's a quite colder night here. We had beautiful weather on Thursday, 30 degrees on a nice start of the spring. But now it's gone back to being cold. But big ups to everyone that's in already. Jacob Farrow says, big up Tommy and the Oz boys. At least we're definitely going to be unbeaten for another weekend. Unfortunately, it is the international break. We're all kind of twiddling our thumbs as Delane's doing there, twiddling our thumbs. Got no idea what to do when there's no Tottenham to play. But there's the only good thing is, like Jacob said, we can't be disappointed by Spurs this week. And audio is here once again. He says, afternoon, chaps. It's roasting in North London. I heard it is actually quite hot in England. Not sure how hot it is though. What's the temperature there? Because roasting for us is like 50 degrees, but
45, 40.
Yeah, 50 degrees Celsius, guys, not Fahrenheit either. But big ups to the audio, always here, always hanging around on our channel and on here on the Hotspur Hood. And guys, before we get into it, make sure you are liking and subscribing to the Hotspur Hood. Tommy's channel is wicked, so he does a hell of a lot on this channel for you guys. And if you like what we bring, head on over to our channel, Total Hotspurs on YouTube, and like and subscribe there too. We appreciate all the love. And yeah, boys, before we get into it, how's your week's been, Delane? Anything new in and around your world this week?
Nah, not really much, man. Just, just hope, just waiting for this international break to finish off so we can get back to watching Tottenham play. But, the rugby league over here is still, we're getting into the final series as well. So, I mean, yeah, my team did great this year. This today, sorry. But other than that, yeah, nothing else is special, bro.
Brad, the same for you. Anything special happened to you this week?
Nah, bro. Just got a night off for the kids. So I'll take that any chance I can get.
Oh, sure you will. Audio, 29 degrees. You say it's roasting. It was 30 on Thursday, and that was a nice day for us here.
That was beautiful.
That was a beautiful day. We're loving it. We're out in the sun, working, loving life, because it has been back us in the window here. So we're into spring now. 29 though. I know it is humid. It's a bit more humid than it is here in Sydney, purely because Europe's a wet continent compared to Australia. It's quite dry unless you go north from where we are. But I hope you are surviving the heat. I know you probably don't have aircon. Unlike here, everyone needs aircon, no matter where you are in Australia, because it does get hot. But guys, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to talk about today is our backup options for the centre back. We all know that Sanchez has now been sold to Galatasaray. It looks like Eric Dyer has been frozen out by Ange, and rightly so. Let's be honest, guys. Dyer was never going to be an Ange player, and I'm glad Ange has got the balls to freeze him out. And I just heard that Romero has got an injury on international duty, which we all knew what was going to happen. But it looks like it's just a tight hammy. So I think it's just a precautionary pulling him out. Hopefully he gets pulled out and brought back to England, because we go straight back into the games next weekend against Sheffield. But Brad, are you worried now? The window shut, Sanchez is gone. Of our backup CD options.
Look, it is worrying. It would have been nice to get some money for Dyer early in the transfer window to have a backup for the reason that we're in now. That all we really have, if Romero is injured, all we have really is Davies and Royal at the moment. That's in our starting team for now. And we've got the newcomers with Phillips and Dorrington as well. But yeah, look, I would have liked to get money for Dyer because he's going on a free. So it's just wasted money that we could have got for the bloke. It could have gone to I don't know, a mid-range centre back, that can play a couple of games if we needed him to.
Yeah, you brought on Phillips. I think Dorrington was in our academy. He's not as much well known, but Phillips was bought. Pretty sure he's from Blackburn or Bolton, one of the Bs. Can't remember now. You make a good point, but if we've kept Dyer, right? So Dyer couldn't be sold. He looks like he's running his contract down. Delaying, like, do you think if we really, really need him, is he going to get a game? Because as much as I'm loving that Ange is put him in the bin and looks like he's going to rely on the likes of Phillips, because Phillips was on the bench against Bournemouth instead of in replacement of Dyer. Do you think Ange is making a mistake here by sitting him on the bench, or do you think it's showing character from Ange to bring a young player the likes of Phillips that's just came in to be on the bench or possibly start for us?
I think Ange has pretty much done the right job. I think Dyer was not going to get in the squad. I think Ange had to do the right thing. He's seen what Dyer's capable of, and we've all seen it. We've dealt with it. And I think he's pretty much listened to us. Is going to know, okay, well, if Dyer's this terrible, maybe I should just freeze him out. So I mean, yeah, look, I think it's the right move. I think Phillips and Dorrington will probably be, maybe they have impressed Ange, for what I'm hearing in the training sessions, which is good. They have impressed him, especially Phillips. Ange is really impressed by him, so that's great news. But then I'm gonna go back on the Sanchez thing. I am worried that we should have kept Sanchez just till January, just to cover us, because now it's put us into a spot where we're gonna find it difficult to try and say if the likes of Phillips or Dorrington don't have a great game or they get injured, who are we going to call upon then? So, I mean, we're in a tight spot. What really
is going to sting is if Van Ven gets injured too. If Romero's out for a couple of games and Van Ven against Sheffield, we are really in it. We're basically having Dyer at the back again, like with the two young players we've got.
Yeah. Well, from like I said, right, and I'm going to be devil's advocate for this because you both make great points. And Audio's brought up a good point here. Imagine being Dyer right now. He's gone from being the star of his own documentary to being public enemy number one. He must be in a strange place in his head at the moment. Well, for starters, his head's that big that he's probably got lost. The guy's got like was it the kid from Toy Story, the ugly kid Sid, like massive head. But second of all, I mean, it was inevitable, right? This guy has got that much of an ego. He's a great guy. Don't get me wrong. You look at him in terms of in the public eye and stuff. He's very, very, down to earth, very, very kind, very passionate. But if the fact that he still thinks he's good enough to do a job in this system, when he's just been given a pass by all the previous three managers because they're all defensive managers. To me, I don't know how he didn't realize this was going to happen. The signs were there, even when Conte was still here, that the fans and the people around the ground weren't happy with him being there and weren't happy that he was our main man. But you mentioned Sanchez, D. But realistically, like Sanchez was always going to be a bit part player in his system, and him going, for me, it's not the fact that he left; it's the fact that we didn't have anyone to replace him.
Yeah,
I would have rather Dyer gone first, but it looked like Dyer was just going to sit here and not accept any contract.
We all wanted Dyer to go first, though.
But to say that, like, now I'm worried, maybe Ange let him go because he trusts these guys. He trusts these kids, the likes of Phillips and Dorrington. Dorrington looks really, really good in our youth academy. I don't know too much about him. Very, very hard to watch youth games out here in Australia, especially because none of us pay for Spurs play, because why would we want to leave his pockets?
Yeah, exactly.
But look, I always have the belief that if they're good enough, they're old enough, right? So what happens if Phillips does start against Sheffield if Romero's out? Like, and he has a blinder of a game. Is that going to be masterclass from Ange, or is that going to be luck? It's a big. I understand where you're coming from, but Sanchez has made so many mistakes since he's been here. Yeah. Are we really going to sit there and go, "Oh, we wish he stayed"?
To me, I just thought his Premier League experience You know, the likes of Phillips and Dorrington, they haven't really got that experience. I know
this could be a game they could get the experience though as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Against a lesser strength team against us, but we can't think like that in the same.
Well, we can't take Sheffield United lightly. That's the thing.
No, we can't. We can't take any game lightly.
Yeah,
you can't really compare it because this player was playing in the Serie A last season for Udinese, but Doji didn't play Premier League. Everyone said that he wasn't going to be good enough, that he wasn't defensively good enough, and the kids hit the ground running. Dorrington's played in a youth academy. He looks like he's a baller. He just like dominates the game in terms of defensive and his distribution out from the back. And Phillips was like, I know he only had a few games in the Championship last season or League One. I can't remember what league they were in, but you know, there's players that have done it. They've come up from lower leagues. There's one name that we all could say is Dele Alli. Came from NK Doms and stormed the league. Not saying that's going to happen here. There's a lot of pressure to put on the likes of Dorrington and the likes of especially Phillips coming from another club bought in. But who's to say they can't do it? If Ange thinks they're good enough and they can suit his system better than Dyer and Sanchez, I'm inclined to back this guy, this man. I mean, we have to, right?
He's made no mistakes apart from that cup game to not back the manager. He's come in with the attitude. He's come in with connecting with the players. You just can't get angry at his decisions. He's doing the best he can with the team that we've got.
Yeah.
So
it goes down to the window, right? And I'm not going to get into a Levy hate because something has happened recently within the last 24 hours with the club. It's going to be a big foot in the mouth for Levy because of some of the spiel he gets out there. But ultimately, it comes down to our recruitment. And like we all gave it less than 4 out of 10.
Yeah, definitely.
The outgoings. I know we got rid of Ndombele on a loan to buy, and then Sanchez, I think, is just a sale. So that popped up to probably a 4. I think mine was a 2 or a 3. But this it shadows if. The question is, did Ange tell Levy, I don't need another centre-back after Van der Ven, I'm going to trust these kids, and then I want that money come January or next season to bolster the squad more? Or was it Levy going, this is all you're going to get, you're going to have to deal with what you have?
The first option sounds, the Levy option sounds the more likelihood, because we've seen that the last, 5-6 transfer windows. Where Levy just buys
more than that. It's more like 23 years of transfer windows, to be honest.
He buys bottom of the barrel players or young players who he think he can make money on in 3-4 seasons that don't get to play, like Jed Spence, for instance.
Well, he's out on loan.
But he bought him. We've seen him a couple of games, and then he'll be gone by next season.
Yeah, I think he'll go back to Leeds or will get sold next season to fund. Possibly another right back or something, but
look, it could have been possible that Ange did say, "I trust the boys," but you can't say that because injuries. Like that's what's going to sting us
but
at the back now. We've got enough for the front 2 lines. The back line, we've got nothing now.
Well, that's our weakest point at the moment right now. It's just our defense. We got nothing. If Romero and Van der Beek get injured, like who are we going to rely on? Like I know we're going to rely on these kids, but then like. Is Davies and Royal going to be shifting?
Well, that's who I was going to bring up. So we did see Royal play in a back 3, play the right side of a back 3 last season under Conte, and Davies plays in the left side of a back 3 for Wales and did for us last season. Do we see them play a makeshift centre back role if either Van der Ven or Royal are out instead of playing these kids in there? Because for me, I feel like that's what's going to happen, and I'm not too opposed to it because they are pacier than Dyer. Defensively, they don't make as many mistakes as Dyer. They actually tried to tackle. They actually try to hit in the air. So they can't be any worse than Dyer. The only thing that Dyer has on him is height, but he doesn't even utilize that. I've never seen the guy defend properly. So, maybe that's a stopgap until January. And unfortunately, though, for me, if that's the way we're going to go, there's no way we're going to compete with these top teams in the next couple of months. We have, after Sheffield, we have Arsenal. We have Liverpool after that. And I think we've got City in and around like the game against Luton. Like those 3 teams are, if we're not defensively at our best, they're going to tear us apart. And that my My concern is that we didn't have proper backup options for centre back. But do we just trust Ange, and if these kids play and we just back them to the ends of the earth? Because honestly, guys, like, especially in the chat as well, guys, what do you think? Like, what do you think we're going to do in the next couple of weeks if Romero is out?
To me, I think he will probably go down that road and trust these kids. If like Romero and Van de Ven are out,
or he'll just throw Davies in there.
Yeah, look, I'll back them. I've always said that whatever manager makes the decisions, I'm going to back, because they know what's going on behind closed doors. They know the training. They know everything. So, I mean, look, I'm going to back him. If he trusts these kids, then I trust him. But we just got to make sure that, well, he's basically got to make sure that he's making the right decisions as well, because we don't want him to make a wrong decision and then, it costs us a game, or, maybe a title or a trade.
Yeah, but
100%.
But with that though, like, we have to allow Ange time to try stuff, right? I know he did, massive stuff up for me the Fulham game. He came out and said that he's got to see his players play. Now, to me, he should have done that at Bournemouth. He should have done that at Burnley.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have done that in the cup, in a trophy winning, like a trophy that we could possibly win. But it's unfortunate that he's done that, but he's not going to be able to find out. And Audio has brought this up, and I pinned it, but I'm going to bring it up now, right? I actually don't know if Ange likes to play players out of normal position, but playing Pierre at centre back, is that a possible option, or moving Kulu into the cam, i.e. if Maddison does get injured?
I'd feel more comfortable Basuma dropping back than Pierre, in my opinion.
Yeah, but the thing with Basuma for me is he's going to try and dribble out of defence all the time, and whereas Pierre will just skyrocket because he knows he can't dribble. That's my only argument.
Yeah,
is Basuma might get a bit too big for his boots.
We've seen it last game. He liked to try and dribble his way out of situations in the first half. It almost cost us a goal. Yeah, look, Pierre's played there before. He's in defence sometime or attack. He always drops back to that mid anyway and lets Romero bomb up. So it's possible that could work. That could be an alternative to our situation if we needed it to. Like, all we can do is try, I guess, right?
Well, I still think our best option is to drop Royal in there. He's a defensive player, plays in the back, has played on the right centre back, and personally, I felt like he played fairly decent on that right centre back last season. I feel like Conte stuffed up, and he should have had Porro, Royal, Romero, and probably Lenglet in that. And then I don't know who could have sat on the left, because they're all.
Would you push? I would have thought. Would you push Van de Ven over to Romero's side and then just throw Davies in the left next to Doji?
That's also a possible option.
That's a possibility.
That's also a possibility, yeah. You can do that.
Push Van de Ven over. He's got the speed to cover for Davies if Davies goes up. And then, if Davies wants to make a run, overlap a Doji, we've got that thingy. And Davies has played on that side for how many seasons? So,
that's not a bad shout. I mean, both are good options. And just thinking about it, I'm not going into crazy panic mode, but it is worrying if we're playing our right back and our left back cover as our right centre back or left centre back to cover the centre backs, because we didn't buy anyone extra. Now, I think we should have went for Tosin Adebayo. I think that's how you say his name. We should have went for Nelson maybe, or someone to back up these players. Getting Tapsoba probably wasn't realistic. It was either, I think it was always, as it was always along, it was either Van de Ven or Tapsoba. We picked Van de Ven, and I'm very happy we picked Van de Ven. He's played very, very well. But like we always said, we're one injury away from crisis in each area. If at the moment, if Richarlison's playing crap, if Son goes down, we've got no one to really score goals or play that central striker role. If Maddison goes down, we've got no Cam. If Basuma or Sarr got down, we have no one in that midfield to transition as good as they do. Yeah. If Van de Ven or Romero, which Romero's got a tight pull, if they go, we're scratching our heads going, who's going to play in the centre back role? Personally, though, if Romero is out for Sheffield, which I don't think he will be, but if he is, I'm not opposed to sticking Phillips in there. If Ange trusts him, I'm not 100%. Opposed. If the kid's got
height too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's fairly big. He's quick.
He's really tall.
Definitely an Ange.
The speed back there will be unreal.
Yeah, and the thing is, Sheffield are going to be a team that are probably going to sit back a bit more because, we are the favourites. Yeah, they might do a Brentford, or they might try and go toe to toe with us like Burnley did. It depends. I still think playing Phillips is the best option, but if I was Ange and I didn't want to put that much pressure on the kid, I'd stick Royal on that right hand side. Plus, he plays fairly well with Porro as well. He did really well last season when Porro was playing for like that right ring back, and he was the right centre back. He'd cover Porro really well. But it's a worry, and we all said that we were only one injury away from crisis. I don't think it's a massive crisis. I think if Maddison went down, then that would be the crisis for me. Gio seems to have just fallen off again once the pressure comes. Pre-season, he was looking promising.
Looking pretty good, yeah.
But D, I know you like to watch the young kids. Any chance we might see Dorrington come through? You reckon?
Oh, I like to see Dorrington, even though I haven't watched him that much. I like to see him come through. As you said, he's more of a ball playing centre back. I think he's kind of more like a Langley. I think he can play from the back and really find the pass. So, I mean, look, if Ange trusts this kid as well, I'm all for it. I think it'll be great for us to see youth come up. We haven't had many youths come up besides from Skip and Kane and Winks. Sorry, so we haven't had many youth come up. So it'd be really good to see a great youth centre back come to the door and really showcase what he's got. So I mean, look, if Ange is trusting himself and trusting these kind of youngsters to play in this team, I'm excited to see, but still in the back of my mind, I'd be still worried going, okay, well, let's just hope and fingers crossed that these kids can, perform well because, they're only young and, look, they just, I just put my faith on it, but it's still worrying, but still worrying.
They just need the confidence, bro. If they have a bad game and the fans yell at them at the stadium where they're at their confidence will get shot. So
I don't think we're going to do that though. I don't think
but it can happen. Something could make their confidence go down, and then that's it. They get in a hole. Like look at Richie, he's got no confidence right now. Look at him, he's playing piss poor.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he got ripped off for Brazil.
He was crying on the bench.
He was crying on the bench. So, but that's what we, as a club and as a fan base, we need to get up. We need to get up and surround these players and support them. But touching on the youth side of things now, we haven't, like you mentioned, Delaney. The last academy player we've seen is Skip. Before that was Winks, and before that was Harry Kane. We haven't seen any Tottenham youth come through, and we did see, Noah John get some game time pre-season last year or the year before. We have seen Alfie Devine get some pre-season games. Harvey White looked like he was coming through, and then he's been sold to Derby. We did see Mundo on the bench a couple of times last season, but didn't really get any game time, even though our left back was shot all of them. Troy Parrott just seems to not be fit.
Injury prone.
Not good enough. Dane Scarlett. Luckily, he's now going to, I think he's staying in the squad for this season. But if Ange does play Dorrington and play Phillips, now I know Phillips was bought, but if Dorrington gets a game, does that open a kind of a door for the youth team? Because we haven't really had a transition from youth to first team in the last 5 to 6 years. Like I said, there's only been 1 or 2 players that have actually come through, and they've, Skip's barely gotten proper time. Apart from last season. Winks was in Poch's squad for a long time and then, tapered off. Is this going to open the door for our youth players to come through? Do you reckon if Ange does trust these kids?
Yeah, man, I think so. I think he really needs to maybe look into the academy more or just look into it really more and to see what's there, what's available. Just in case we get stuck in the situation. So, I mean, at the moment now, I haven't really looked into the youth, but from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of really, such as Dorrington and Phillips, but there's a lot more youth going through and a lot more players that we could really be excited about and really take interest in. So, I mean, at the moment, I think Phillips and Dorrington are just our first priority because obviously it's to cover the centre backs. And I think Audio touched on the Kulu playing attack in mid. Yeah, I think we both know that he can play that role. He see. I think he played on the Ryan Mason. He played on the Ryan Mason, and look, he's got the strength. It's just his for passing ability is not really on. If he still has his good passing ability, he'll be able to play that role well. But yeah, it's just his passing. It's just, and he's very predictable on that left foot. So I mean, he's gonna have to change it up if he really wants to play in that role. If it comes to that situation.
Yeah, well, Audio's corrected me. Scarlett's gone to Ipswich. I actually didn't get to see that. I thought he was playing.
Yeah, I thought he went out on loan.
So he's gone to Ipswich. But Iago Santiago. I heard a lot of people talking about this kid, as well as Mikey Moore. Brad, did we make a mistake though in sending the likes of Scarlett and Alfie Devine out on loan, especially Devine? For me, this was the season that Devine could have been Madison's backup. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be anywhere near as good as Madison, but he is that attacking mid role. He plays in the attacking role for England on the under-19s. Pretty sure he won a World Cup with him or he won a trophy with him, a Euro. Did we make a mistake in sending Devine out? Or is that he's gone to Port Vale, not even a proper team where he can actually challenge, not in a championship team where it's a decent team. He's gone to Port Vale. Scarlett going to Ipswich is good because I'm pretty sure he'll start there. But, do you think we made a mistake in sending these two out, especially those two? For me, Scarlett and Devine are the two that are knocking on the door.
I think Scarlett, yes, because just with Richie's form, we know Sonny can play there. But I know we have Veliz as well, but we haven't even seen much of Veliz as it is. But
he's work permit. He hadn't got a work permit.
Yeah, that's so that yet. But seeing Scarlett in the preseason, he looked like a completely different player when he left to go on loan last season. He's bulked up a bit more. I think he could have done a bit more up front with the likes of Sun and Kulu. But look, another season him starting is not going to hurt his career. It's actually make him better. So you can't fault them for doing that. But I would have liked, with this whole Richie situation, maybe we would have kept him. But like I said, we got Veliz there. We'll see him eventually. Devine, but we've got Gio that can play there. So I can't see Ange playing Devine a lot because he's already got a backup for Madison. So.
Well, Devine's gone out on loan to Port Vale, so we won't see him.
So we won't see him anyway. But even if he did stay, I don't think we'd see him anyway. So maybe Ange's going to go out. We'll see what the season's like and then see how you come back. And he might fit in next year. Ange might be doing it just for that certain thing to make this team bigger for the future. Not right now. Might just try and get through this season, get a couple of players in, and then build these players up next year. And we just don't know what the thought process is at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see what it is.
Well, that's the thing. I think because Ange has done so well so quickly, like the team just seems to have just gelled straight into his system. We're all talking about, we should have done this, we should have done that. And he's actually said in a lot of his press conferences, guys, this is the start of a 3-year project, 4-year project. I'm only just getting started. Like we're playing well because the team's kind of adapted quickly, but I haven't got the players that I want. And Audio has brought up, he always does. He's quite level-headed, Audio. I love having him on because he brings the good stuff. He knows the stuff, and he says, I think we're building a team that's going to be very fluid. Obviously, the way we've been playing, Basubo, Sarr, Madison, very, very fluid. Even Sun last game was very, very good. Devine plays all the same positions as BJ, as Brendan Johnson. After a year of men's footy, he'll be ready next season. And that's what you alluded to, Brad, is the fact that maybe he needs to play a proper season where he's getting proper game time. Because sitting as a secondary to Madison, and if Madison isn't injured, he's not starting.
100%.
And Devine won't be brought on to try and win a game, I don't think.
No.
It'll be if we're winning a game and we we're 2-3-0 up and we're trying to get some players some minutes. But we have to understand, and we have to be open and acknowledge that this is a process. It's not, everyone keeps talking about a rebuild. For me, this is just a build. We've been trying to rebuild for the last 20 years.
100%.
You know, we got close. We got close to get it. We got the final product with Poch, and then it just went to crap because Levy once again. But look, like there's a lot to touch on with that, with the youth and with the centre backs. But I'm not too worried about Romero missing out if he because I do think he'll be back for the Sheffield game. It's 10 days, 9 days, I think.
They said it's just a muscle knock or muscle tightness at the moment, so we don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, so I think it's just precautionary, but this is why I hate international friendlies. I don't know why they do them mid-season. It just creates so much.
It's so early in the season too. Like
it's four games.
Like this is what happened to us when we won those 3 games under Nuno.
Yeah,
not saying that we would have went on to beat those next. We had we lost 3-0 to I think it was Arsenal, United, and Crystal Palace in a row. But like I don't understand why we can't play friendlies further in the season. Or I know Christmas is very busy in England. Why don't we play them at the end of the season? Like I don't understand why we're playing them mid-season. It just it just breaks up so much momentum for teams, and it also allows teams to stop. Like Chelsea playing poor. They now have a couple of weeks to get Poch's system back up, so it helps them. Whereas for us,
United as well.
We go and lose Romero, and then our form dips because we've lost our main key guy in the back. But we try not to be doom and gloom. So let's talk about our campaign so far. So we are talking about how we have started very well. We have got 3 wins and 1 draw. So that's 10 points from a possible 12. And aside from that little hiccup in the cup where we decided to pretty much throw it away. Dane, like, how are you feeling so far? I mean, I did say in our video on our channel that it's the first time in a while that I've kind of not looked forward to an international break.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the way we kicked off our first game against Brentford, I think we're all excited because the Premier League's back and all that. But just seeing a new system, a new idea, fresh idea from Ange, just a whole new formation, a formation that we've been calling out for since Conte started because we know his system didn't work. I think we're all excited, all to see what Ange can do, what he can bring to the team, and so far he's brought nothing but good vibes for all of us. Good football to watch. It's probably, I can't say it's the best, but it's on the lines of the best football that I've watched us play for a while since Poch. So I mean, look, from that game onwards to our last game against Burnley, we've had a little bit of hiccups here and there, but other than that, I'm pretty impressed. But I'm not getting too excited, too high because look, it's only a couple of games in. It's only 4 or 5 games in. Still got a long season ahead. We could drop off. I'm not saying we will, but it could happen. We can, as you said, like after this international break, we could go on a 5-4 game losing streak. You just never know.
Oh, you've caught it now. Good
no, work. I've caught it now. But
if we lose 4 or 5 games in a row, you have to quit YouTube, mate. I'm telling you.
No, but hey, I'm just being realistic.
Shave your beard off.
Yeah. No, it could happen, but you just never know with football. You just never know. So I mean, but at the moment, right now, I'm just taking it all in what has happened over those last 4 or 5 games, except for the Fulham game. That was, the worst mistake he made. That was a bad mistake he made, but he made that for the Burnley. But other than that, he's so far this season. I'm excited. I want the Premier League to come back now because I want to see more Ange ball.
100%.
So, Brad, yeah, pretty much. We've like I said, 10 points from 12. We've got the ballers like Basuma playing well, Madison playing well. Sonny got a hat-trick last game. It's the goals have kind of been spread around, and everyone's like, Harry Kane's gone, where are we going to score goals? And we've scored 11 goals in 4 games. So it's an average of like 2.8 goals per game, which is great. how are you feeling? But before you do, I'm going to head off in for 5 minutes. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I've just Mrs. just got home. So, bro, while you're telling Delane how you feel, I'll be back.
Like I said, Delane, we started off well. That Ange football has been immense. What the man has done when he's come in from the preseason has just been, like I said, we haven't seen that since Poch, the year before Poch left.
Definitely.
Like I said, the only downfall he has had is that 9 substitutes for that cup game, which it was a cup game. We should have fought for that. Like, we knew we had Sheffield on the weekend. We should have fought for that game because we could have brought on our first team players that played in the Fulham game in the second half. We weren't good in the first half of the Sheffield game anyway. And I said it in the stream when I was on with Jay for the preview. I was like, Ange's going to do 9 changes and it's really going to screw us because we changed too much, too quick.
Yeah.
But apart from that, we have been like I said, a good start to the season. We just need to continue this momentum after the international break.
Yeah.
We need to have the boys fit. The boys come back hungry as they left to go to international break. The players that stayed behind should have been training that on the bench, should have been training as hard as the first team to make that team. So when the boys come back, they've got an extra 2 weeks to train where other boys are playing games and stuff. They've got more time to work with Ange and learn the system that we need to play.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling, I don't know, just we're going to come back and I think it's going to be a nice upset to Arsenal just to get our campaign going back on again after the international break. And look, we're joint second. How can you complain?
You can't complain about that, bro. Like, I think...
we've been there before, though. Let's just
that's what I mean. I've said it before. Like, we were going on international break, and then we come back, and we go on like a 4 or 5 losing streak, and it's just like, oh no, here we go again. It's one of these situations. So I mean, look, and that's why I said we can't really get our hopes up. So, but at the moment, we just gotta take game by game. We just gotta enjoy it because at the moment, right now, man, like the football we are playing, and I'm actually start your question. Do you actually feel comfortable at the back right now the way we're playing? Because to me, I was a bit rocky at first when we were playing Brentford from the back. I was like, oh no, because I feel like it's gonna be another Conte, like they're gonna crumble. But I'm actually not that bad. I'm actually not that scared for us to play at the back. Like Van de Ven, Romero, and Vicario, especially with Vicario, like he looks comfortable on the ball at the back, and same with Van de Ven. He's got the pace to back him up. He's got the speed to back him up. So I mean, look, I'm not that scared to play from the back. Not that worried because the likes of Romero and Vicario and Van de Ven playing from the back is actually really impressive. And what I don't know if you guys saw, but what Romero did from the back against Burnley, like that was really impressive. The ball was just about to roll out. He just touched it with his foot, and just the way we play from the back, man, it's just so impressive. And I'm really excited.
What's saving us from the back now is Romero hasn't got a card, I don't think, this season in 4 games or 5 games that we've played in the cup game. I don't think I think he may have 1 yellow. He got it against Burnley, I think, but it was a soft yellow. I can't remember. But he's not doing stupid mistakes to the where he has to hold off players now. He's that mindset. I think him getting the vice captain role has changed his mindset of how he needs to play. And now he can trust his player next to him too. Because if he makes a mistake, we know we have Van de Ven to cover behind him. He's got the speed, and we've got a Doji speed on that as well. So playing from the back, and with the way Basuma's playing too, once that goes to the midfield, our midfield is getting us out from the back anyway.
Yeah,
and it's Vicario too. Vicario's attacking the balls. He's not standing still. He's starting that momentum from the back with getting the boys excited because he's just on a streak. I can't say a streak, but he's on the confidence high that he needs to be on for a young player coming into the Premier League. And that's moving up to the back. So we're starting to play better from the back. We're not just kicking it out for nothing or trying to tick-a-tacker from the back. We're doing it, getting around players, midfield, and our midfield's going. And then our boys, we're not bombing on, but we can counter better than we have. But yeah, coming from the back, it's the best we've seen in 3 seasons under all 3 managers that we've had.
Well,
or 4 managers with Mason.
I'd just like to correct that Romero does not have a yellow.
No, I thought he got one at Burnley.
Vicario has a yellow. So Basuma, Richarlison, Højbjerg, Kalu, Madison, Perisic, Sanchez is now gone. Sarr, Skip.
So everyone but Romero, bro. That's crazy.
And Vicario and Sonny. So Romero is a changed man. He's no longer the destroyer.
But do you feel this is the best Romero we've had? Even though when he came, he was good when we first got him. Do you reckon now he's not playing that aggressive, he's not getting a hot head? Do you reckon we've got a better player under our belt?
100%.
From the way he's acting in these games now?
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen the memes lately about Messi saying that he watches Tottenham because apparently he came out and said that Romero is the best defender in the world.
Yeah, well, didn't Messi also say that? No, it was Buffon said that Vicario will be the next Italy goalkeeper, and look at him, bro. He's been a cracker. So I believe Messi saying it too.
Well, Messi plays with Romero. Romero was in the back 4 for them when they won the World Cup. He is a World Cup winner. Look, Romero has been very impressive this season. He's playing the way I thought he would play with a proper defender next to him. He looks like and the thing is in football, right? And it's really weird to compare it. And you can kind of use FIFA for this, right? On Ultimate Team, the chemistry on foot is very big. You could have the best players in the world, but they have no chemistry in FIFA. They don't play as good as what they could. For me, chemistry it beats talent, raw talent every single time, right? You know. Even for FIFA as well, me and Delane, right? Me and Delane aren't the best at FIFA. You put us together though, we're pretty unbeatable. Yeah, we just the chemistry working off. Trust me, 2v2 we'll beat pretty much anyone, right?
2v1,
apart from pro players, right? But the fact that I'm not saying Romero and Van de Ven don't have the talent to be world class defenders or above that step above. Or sorry, elite defenders, world class is the top echelon, right? But their chemistry so far, the way that there's a clip, the 6-second clip where Vicario saves the ball, he's yelling at Romero. Romero's like hyped up. They're shaking hands. Him, Van de Ven, and Vicario are all bloody like G.
It's a love triangle.
That's the type, and I shared it on Twitter. That's to me, that chemistry that Romero and Van de Ven have is the reason why they've been so good so far. Yeah, we've conceded, I think, 3 or 4 goals. Yeah, we've conceded some weak goals, but I don't think per se it's them. It's the guys around them. They're playing very, very well. Vicario is starting to ooze confidence. That nice save he did when he tipped it over the bar was he's very good with his reflexes. We have a solid base now, and the thing is, with any good team, you need to have a solid spine. We have a good spine now. We do. Son at the moment playing striker. We've got Madison behind him with Sarr and Basuma providing the support. Then you have Van de Ven and Romero and Vicario all sinking. We have a very good spine. All we need to do is just add to it, and we can carry on this run. And I'm going to say it. Looking at Arsenal, I think we can beat them.
I said that when you were gone.
I think we can beat them, but I'm not saying we're going to beat them. I just think that on our day, if we can beat them at the moment, I feel like we should go into that game with 13 points. We should go and beat Sheffield. Yeah. After Arsenal is Liverpool, and then we have Luton. If we can come out after that Luton game with a draw at Liverpool, a win at Arsenal, that's the thing. We're going to Arsenal, so we tend to lose. But even if we get a draw at Arsenal, draw at Liverpool, and we beat Luton, right? That's 18 points out of a possible, 21? No, 24. 24. That's insane.
24, yeah. That's a good
top 4 contending.
That's a good.
Now that's wishful thinking, but the way we started so far and the way that we seem to be going and progressing, if we don't get any injuries and the spine plays the way it's playing, and Madison hopefully doesn't pick up an injury in a couple of hours when he plays for England. I think he's starting today as well. He should be starting. He's been England's best player so far this season for me. In terms of English players in the Premier League, we have a good season ahead of us, guys. I really do think that But the thing is, we've got, like I said before, it's the start of Ange's tenure. It's the start of his project, and we are going to hit some bumps. We are going to have some downfalls. We are going to lose some games.
But we've had one downfall already, bro. The Fulham game.
Yeah, but I think what we need to do is not get too hyped, not get too gassed. Like I said, I do think we can beat Arsenal. I'm not saying we will, but I think we can. On paper, the way we're playing at the moment, I think we can beat him. But it's time will tell, guys. Time will tell.
100%.
But we'll move on to. I wanted to highlight a few players that have kind of been forgotten, but I feel like two of them are going to be integrated into this team. One of them, I think we just bin him in January. Couldn't get rid of him because he was injured. But the three players I really want to talk about is Brian Hill, Rodrigo Bentancur, and Ryan Sessegnon. Now, I think we all know who I was talking about binning. Sess, I think that Adoji with Davies as the backup is probably our best option for now. Reguilon, obviously, on loan to United. I don't know why United won him. I think it was just to fill in the gap.
Just for sure.
But Bentancur and Hill are the two players that I think really could help Ange this season. Especially Hill, I think could be very surprised, especially if Richarlison plays so poor and we play Sonny directly through the middle. With Johnson, we're going to have Solomon, Perisic, Kulusevski. Now add Hill to that. For me, he was an Ange type player. Same with Bentancur. Loves a one touch. Loves to take the ball, move through that midfield. Delane, like. Out of those three, I'm going to say two because I think we can all agree that Sess isn't getting a look in. Who do you think is going to have more of an impact? Because Bentancur needs to work his ass off to get into this midfield.
I think. Actually, I'm probably gonna Well, going off the midfield from Bentancur, the way Sar's playing at the moment, it's going to be pretty hard to try to get in the squad. After coming off that big long injury he had. So I mean. But if he does come back, as we said before, if he does come back to the Bentancur that was last time he played,
we lost the day he got injured.
The day he got injured, the sensational Bentancur. Then I mean, look, it might be sad to sit down and him getting on the bench. So I mean, I think Bentancur could really make an impact in the system. Could really make an impact. So I'm excited to see him come back. It's another midfield to add to the squad. And then you mentioned it yourself, Hill. I still got my ups and downs with Hill, but for what I saw against Palace, him linking up with Kane and all that, doing a one touch, getting behind the line, it kind of did impress me. But at the moment, I think will Ange use him? I think we got a lot of wingers up there, man. We got a lot of wingers, I just think with Johnson coming through, it's maybe going to be a bit hard for Hill to get in. But at the same time, as Audio said, we might get him pushed out on January. We might get him pushed out to January. So look, I'm not gonna get my hopes up and say, oh look, he's gonna stay after January. I think maybe if he does impress, maybe even in the FA, use him in the FA Cups, just get him up there and see what he can do, and then we'll just go from there. But for me personally, I think Bentancur might be the top one to come back into the system again.
Yeah, I mean, great points. But Brad, do you share that sentiment, or do you think that maybe Bentancur might find it hard to get back into this team?
It's going to be a challenge, 100%. Like you can't knock the boys. The way the boys are playing that midfield now, they're playing at not their best they can, but they're playing a lot better than we've seen some of them play. I think coming back from the injury that he had, he may be a bit more cautious taking on the line, doing all that stuff because of the injury was quite severe. It was an ACL or something, wasn't it?
ACL.
Yeah, ACL. So he had 7 months on the sideline, bro. Look what coolly happened when he come back. He hasn't been the same player because he lost the confidence. That's what's going to kill Bentancur coming back. But he seems to be hungry, and he's been. I've seen some stuff on Twitter saying he's been trying to put his boots on and go out and train, but the medical staff's been pulling them back in. So I think he's going to be hungry, and I think he's going to really fight. And I think it will show Ange that in training when he gets back on the pitch properly, when he can go 100% full training.
Yeah.
But we know what he can do, so there's no worry. If he can get back to where he was, the way he was playing, could you imagine having Basuma, Bentancur, and Mads running, and then you've still got SARS back up?
I honestly think that SAR's pushing for starter. So
yeah,
for me, I wouldn't drop SAR either. I think it's more of the competition will be good for both of them.
Yeah,
it might make him play 100 times better. And if they have the rivalry going into these games, trying to fight for that starting position, who knows what they can do? They could absolutely have the best season of their lives right now. We just don't know what's going to happen. It's just because that injury was so severe.
Yeah,
you can't tell what the player's going to be like. It's his confidence, his mental health is another thing as well. You got to think about and stuff. Yeah. But so that's my thoughts on Bentancur. Hill, I'd keep him because of we have Perisic there. If we need plays, if Perisic hasn't got speed, right? And we've got Sonny in the middle, Hill has the speed. He's good with the ball at his feet. Hopefully now he's better than he was. He still did make some mistakes, but he can cut that back in with Sonny running that quick lightning bolt. And he's got Mads has got Hill and Sonny crisscrossing. We've got that speed up front as well. To if the game's a different momentum, Hill's there. But a loan spell could be good for him as well because of he hasn't played much since he's come back. I'm tossing and turning between Hill. I like him, but then it's like I don't know, some things he plays and then he just doesn't do what he can do. He just looks like he fumbles the ball.
Yeah.
But Ange can get him there, and Cess, mate, I don't really want to see him in a jersey again.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that. Before I carry on with my thoughts on that, big up Chris Loney. Looks like he's he's an Aussie, living in Rockingham, Western Australia. Big ups to you, mate. Welcome to the show. He says, I call out anyone griping about Fulham lineup. EFL leads nowhere, no Europe. Ange watching training is different to the real thing. He was 100% right. Now, I see. I can understand what you're saying, but my thing is, I'm not angry. I'm just a bit disappointed because we need a trophy, right? And I understand where you're coming from. We need to get back into Europe, but we've been in Europe for what 5-6 seasons, and we've really done nothing with it. We've won no trophies. We've not really challenged for a title. For me, the EFL was a trophy that we could aim to, like baby steps, right? So we hit the EFL, we win a trophy there. The squad understands, gets that feeling of winning a trophy. The fans have the pressure, and the club has the pressure of trophies off their back. Then we can start growing, usually bouncing back off that trophy, developing a winning mentality to then start pushing for FA Cups, for leagues, for European Cups. He was wrong for doing what he did. However, you are correct. I feel like the club let him down for his preseason. Didn't give him enough time in preseason, enough games to utilize his squad. By the time we played our first game against West Ham, they'd already had 3 preseason games.
Yeah,
we were their 4th, I think, or 3rd or 4th. He didn't have enough time. We had the Leicester game got rained out, and then we played. We played at Lions City, which was just a mock game. We played West Ham, they played all their kids. We went to Barcelona. They had a proper game at Barcelona, and they dominated us with their kids in the second half. Shakhtar, we were comfortable, and then we went straight into the league. So I do feel like Ange needed to see more of those players. And I'll be honest, I did say that squad was good enough. They had enough international players, enough players that have, Lo Celso's been in European. I think he won a cup with. No, he didn't win it. With Villarreal, didn't he?
Yeah,
you won
the Europa.
So, there was plenty of players in there that should have performed, and they didn't. But I understand where you're coming from, and unfortunately, that's going to be a blip in Ange's tenure at the start. However, I don't think it tarnishes anything that he's done so far. And for me, and I'm pretty sure the 2 boys here will agree with me, it was crap that we went out the cup the way we did. It was crap we didn't go for it. We need a trophy. but it's not the be all and end all. And for me, Europe isn't the be all and end all either.
No.
But Chris obviously understands, but big up. Like at the end of the day, everyone has their own opinion, and I actually don't even disagree with you at all. I think that it was a learning curve, and it goes to show that the squad doesn't have depth. It's just unfortunate that we missed out. I would have rather him do it against Bournemouth, but it is what it is. Ange knows best because he's the guy in the job, and we're not.
In my opinion, my opinion. I just think if Vicario was in goal, I don't think they would have scored as many goals. That's just my opinion. I think the goalie was one of the mistakes there because Foster was just too slow, bro.
Yeah, I felt like he was very, 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 very.
He was like a Lloris, bro, just feet planted on the floor and couldn't move.
It was like he's jet lagged.
Yeah, that's the only thing I take from that. Yeah, that's the only substitution. The only change Ange made that I didn't like was the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I don't know why Vicario didn't get a game. Vicario, you don't change the goalkeeper, especially if you want to try and win.
100%.
You never change the goalkeeper.
That's my thing. That's it.
You never change a goalkeeper because they don't do much. So I mean, they're pretty much your last one if you have to change something.
Well, Vicario does some backflips and shiznicks and stuff. So
well, he's very like I said, he's got good reflexes, so he could have probably. I reckon he would have got to one of those penalties and not dived the same way 4 times.
100%.
But I'll go back to the Hill. I just wanted to get that question out. It was a great little thing, and big up to you, Chris. Welcome to the show, and we are here every Saturday night. And I didn't answer your question. We are in Oz. Myself and Brad are English, but we do live in Sydney, Australia, and Delane lives just about a minute away from me. So we are based in Sydney, Australia. But on the Hill and Bentancur, I think with the injury that Bentancur sustained, it's going to be very, very hard for him to bring back the form straight away. However, and having an ACL tear, a lot of players don't come back 100%, even after months of playing. So for me, my concern is if Bentancur isn't back to his best, we could have lost a very, very good player. But if Bentancur does come back, then Bissouma and Sarr need to play their socks off every week because Bentancur would thrive in this system. His one touch, his dribbling, the way he moves through midfield. He was doing it last season in a Conte team. So I think he's a great asset. I think it's gonna be really, really good to be able to bring him on or rotate the likes of Bissouma or Sarr to keep the fresh. Even though we only have 1 game a week, pretty much, unless we have the FA Cup. Bissouma takes a knock 1 week. It's all right, sit on the bench, and then jump onto the jump in the game in the 70th minute if we're chasing a game or if we need to solidify it up. On Hill, I do think I've always said I do think he does bring more change up front. I feel like he can play on that left a bit more direct. He'll be a bit more like Perisic while he'll run, especially if Sonny transitions into the middle. I think he's a good option on the left. I think Solomon would be good to go on the right. I think he can play on both sides. But then we also got to look at Brendan Johnson. And then, we've got Brendan Johnson coming in. We've got Perisic, Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski, Solomon. If we add Hill to that, who misses out? So for me, it's all about if Ange says he's good enough and Ange wants him to stay, then I think Hill's going to thrive. If Ange goes, we don't have enough room for you, then, like I said, back to manager. And like what Uncle Merv has said, if you are new to the channel, guys, make sure you are liking and subscribing to the Hotspur Hood. That is Tommy's channel. And then I will post in the comments in a minute our link over on YouTube because we are from a different YouTube channel. We are the Total Hotspurs boys. We have our own channel. It is Total Hotspurs on YouTube, but I will get the link up for you guys in a second. But make sure you're going over there and liking and subscribing if you enjoy the show, guys. We won't go for a hell of a long time purely because it is a Saturday night and a few of us have had work today. But there's the channel in the chat, guys. But I want to ask you guys. Recently, it's come out. I didn't want to really talk about Daniel Levy, but I will say it because it's important that we talk about it.
We've got to bring it up.
The last 24 hours has been announced that the club has set up some visual, pretty much like plans to build a new hotel outside the stadium. And this is probably where the Harry Kane money went. Let's be honest. We didn't spend a dime of it.
Yeah.
We spent probably 40 mil of it on Brendan Johnson, but I'm pretty sure that was already spent before Harry Kane got sold. So the club is building a brand new hotel outside the stadium, probably to help all the corporate guys come in and stay near the stadium so they can.
Are we surprised though?
No,
it's Levy we're talking about.
The thing is, like, look, I'm all for building the building up the area around the stadium, getting more revenue for the club. Only if the club is spending the money on the team, though. The first and foremost important thing about our club is the fans and the football that we play. We've got the football back, but how long is this football going to stay if Ange goes? If Ange doesn't get back, then he gets sacked like he inevitably does, like Poch, walks away. Conte walked away. Nuno got sacked. Jose walked away. None of them really got backed. No. We spent 18 months not buying a player after we went to the Champions League final. That just says all the intent.
And where'd that money go? That Champions League money go?
Oh, Daniel Levy's pocket, mate. But audio says who the F wants to stay in a hotel in Tottenham. I mean, you wouldn't remember Tottenham, Brad. You were too young. Delane, you've never been. I went there in January to watch us beat Man City at home. My cousin got me tickets, luckily. First home game I've ever been to, and you're not wrong, audio. It's not the best area in London, North London. But yeah, who wants to? The hotel might be amazing, but the surrounding is not.
In
so
my
amazing.
opinion, right, for Levy to get the fans on his side, why wouldn't he put some money back into the community?
Well, he has put it into community, but
but that's for him. He's making revenue on that hotel now.
It's only if it benefits him.
You know what I mean? Do something like put 10, 20 million to the community for homeless people, like, you know what I mean? Good causes out there and all that stuff. Do something like that and try and win the fans back over. Yeah, at least we're spending money on something apart from money going in his bloody pocket. Because that's where all the money goes.
All money goes to Levy's pocket.
That's just my opinion. I would put some to the community for people in need.
I really don't agree with this hotel. Get built to Tottenham.
Well, do any of us? Do any of us? Because we were meant to have a £150 million war chest last season. Didn't see any of that. This season, that was meant to be added back into the kitty for us to buy players this season. We went and bought. We spent 100. We actually made money until we bought Brendan Johnson. So technically, net spend, we've spent about £35 million. £35 million. Nottingham Forest signed like 8 players on deadline day. Yeah. Yes, some of them on a free. They went and bought who's that midfielder? They bought a decent midfielder. They bought a decent winger. They just brought in all these players, and you know why? Because the owner said to himself, "I'm not going to be a yo-yo club. Because I don't think you understand when a club comes up, they get a certain amount. It's about 100 million. When they go back down, they get a severance package, which is to support them so they don't, collapse like Leeds did when they dropped out of the top league. Clubs like Norwich, clubs like Newcastle doing it for a while, they would yo-yo, and the money they would get would help them. They'd make more money just yo-yoing up and down than staying in the league. Nottingham Forest owner's gone, you know what? I want to stay in this league. I want to try and do something. And he's just splashed the cash and he's put his money where his mouth is.
100%.
Levy is probably one of the. I think he gave himself a ridiculous an £8 million pay rise or something. The last couple of years he's increased his wage by tenfold. The guy does nothing.
We spent 70 mil and the income we got was 95.
Yeah, but is that including the Van der Ven, Brennan Johnson, and Madison? Because Brennan Johnson was 45, Madison was 40, and Van der Ven was 37. So that to me is about 115.
Yeah, Chelsea's always spending the most.
Yeah, but we sold Winks for 10 mil, with up to 14 if they come back in the league. Harry Kane for 100, 105. with add-ons. So that's what 115 mil. We've pretty much broken even. We've sold Sanchez, and Dombele's going out on a loan option to buy. We've loaned out a few other players. The wage bill's dropped. I'm hearing that we might even be ripping up Lloris's contract because there's too many goalkeepers on the books. So we're saving like 5 mil up there, or we're paying out 5 mil for that. We've probably spent about 10 mil net. And I know people don't like talking about net spend, but net spend is the reality is Tottenham aren't spending money. We're spending money only if we're getting money back.
100%.
Yeah.
And
that's the way
our
the league
squad's
works.
still inflated. Our squad is so inflated, it's ridiculous. There's so many players that should be gone already.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, they should have been gone, and we should have got new players in. That Harry Kane money should have. Well, it's gone on the hotel. We can't get that money back now. It's gone. It was gone before Kane was even sold. The plans would have been drawn up for Levy. We're just waiting for the money.
Yeah. Well, Chris has said that he thinks some of the units in the hotel will be social housing, which is great if that's the case. But it's still
they all should be, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I think the penthouse stuff, the top 10. I think it's going to be like a 29 story complex. So that's a lot of houses for social, but there's also a lot of houses for corporate.
Yeah.
And audio cracked the joke here because it ain't happening. We might still get some money from the Dele Alli deal. I think it's 10 mil. Is it up to 40? They paid 10 mil up front, and then they have to pay up to 40 if he plays a certain amount of games.
Yeah, it's a certain amount of games he plays until.
Can you imagine if he does, and then we end up getting 30 mil, and we actually made money this window? How crazy would that be?
Yeah, but are we going to see any of it? Are we going to see any of it? Nope. None of it,
boys. I don't know.
It's just ridiculous what Levy has done for himself, not for the team. Hasn't backed the managers. Conte, Mourinho, Poch. Those. I can't put Poch in elite, but I can put Jose and Conte as the elite managers. Hasn't backed them. Just hasn't done anything to help this club, help this team succeed in getting a trophy. And I think
he's a businessman. That's all he is.
He's not. He says he's a footballer. He says he's a footballer CEO or whatever. But
he's not.
For me, he's not. I don't think he understands the game. To be honest, I think he's business.
The thing is news have come out recently, last couple of hours, that Mr. Daniel Levy will be facing the Tottenham supporters for the first time since the forum that he had at Oxford. I think he went to a university to explain business. Yeah. Him and Big Ange are actually having an arranged meeting with a set of fans to answer questions. And look, there's no doubt that they're going to fill that room with journalists that are all Levy in. They, all the vocal ones are like the likes of Brian Daigle, Stelios from Tottenham Away. The guys that do the from the Tottenham for Change. I don't think any of those guys are going to be in that because they're not going to want proper supporters going into that sort of thing and asking questions. Not saying that people that are Levy in aren't proper supporters, but I mean, for me, if you see someone like the parasite in this club like Levy, he just doesn't want to. And look, I don't even need to say anything because Audio's just said it. It's going to be fake and it's going to be scripted. 100%. It'll be painted. It'll be painted questions that are nice and easy for Levy to answer. It'll be questions they get given to ask.
Yeah.
It won't be the likes of us here going, why aren't you spending on the squad? Why have you sold Harry Kane and not invested the money? Why have we waited this? We're out of Europe now. You didn't. And that's what I go back to Chris's point of saying we need to get into Europe. We were in the Champions League for 4 or 5 seasons straight out of like 7 seasons. Where did that money go? That's up to that's what 50 million a year. You think about it, that's 250 mil, and for 18 months of that, we didn't spend any of it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And then Arsenal are spending 400. I think he spent like 650 mil in 3.5 years.
Chelsea got a new CEO, bro. They spent 1.1 billion.
Yeah, but they're playing bloody Football Manager, those guys.
I know.
And they can't play football.
How are they all this money? We've got all the money from
the CEO trying to play Football Manager.
It is. It's opposite way around. If we had that, we might have got somewhere. If they had Levy, I don't know.
I just really think that the way that Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, all that spend, like, don't get me wrong, Nottingham Forest are spending money, but at the same time, they're not doing what Chelsea doing. I think Nottingham Forest are doing a little bit smarter than what Chelsea are doing at the moment. Chelsea, as you said, they just play a football manager. Bowley's just going, oh yeah, here you go, Casado, here you go, and Lavia, just spending ridiculous amount of money on just players that don't even suit Poch's system, maybe, or maybe can't. It's just ridiculous what they're doing at the moment. But
100%.
And also, like, in some cases, I wish that was us. Like, us spend that kind of money, go and get, like, maybe a Casado or maybe a Lebanon.
No. We'll go get Casado's second cousin who plays in, like, plays for Rennes or something, and go, oh yeah, he's the next Caicedo, and he'll be trash. Just want to quickly, RJR Jones says Spurs down under, love it. Levy out. Big up, chats. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you very much for joining the show. This is our second show on the Hotspur Hood, so we'll be here every week on a Saturday. Make sure you are subscribing to the Hotspur Hood and liking the show. And if you want, head on over to Total Spurs. That's our channel. We are on here as guests for Tommy, and subscribe to our channel too, guys. Put some content out there, and we've got some FIFA content coming up when the new EAFC drops. We won't go for too much longer, guys. It is 11:15 at night here in Australia, and it's going to be a hell of a long week before we Tottenham come back.
At least we can watch England play in a couple of hours. At least we can watch some sort of football this weekend.
I guess so. Ink to Audio, big ups Ink to Audio. Thank you for joining the show. He says, I understand Levy out. However, since Paratici has come in, we really question their recruitment. It's been stellar, to be fair. And I will say, Paratici has really found some gems. Kulusevski, Bentancur, Adoji, Basuma for 25 million. He's in 100. If Caicedo's 100 million, Basuma's 120 at the moment.
100%.
Sarr was his buy. Madison, he got Madison over the line. He's gotten Solomon over the line. He's gotten Van der Ven over the line.
Did he get Richie?
I don't know.
I
personally think Richie was a Levy buy.
Yeah,
I think Levy just went for him. So look, I can't disagree. I just feel like, mate, we just needed 1 or 2 more signings this window, or the previous windows. When Conte wanted players. I think that's the real thing is it's not just, this year or last year. It's the last 23 years of recruitment. We've always been 1 or 2 players. That team when we had, Lloris, Toby, Jan, Rose, Walker. We had, what was it, Dembele, Ali, Eriksson, Son, Kane. Like that team there, all we had to do was sprinkle a couple of more players on the bench. Not go and get Sissoko.
Yeah.
Not, when we wanted Grealish, no, we go and get Grealish. When he was at Aston Villa. And
it would have been a steal.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's, and you can't deny what Paratici's done. He's done really, really well for us, even though he's probably sitting in jail right now or sitting in his home locked up in Italy.
Somewhere.
But make a great point, and, there is some really good buys, and I'm still, at the moment, I think Kulu can reach the heights that he was doing in the first 6 months for us. He started to look a bit better this season, slowly growing into his role.
Do you reckon he could be missing Bentancur? Having that partnership.
No, because last season he wasn't playing well, and Bentancur was playing killer last season before he got injured.
For
me, I personally think his confidence got hit when Conte dropped him instead of Son. When he was playing, when Son was piss poor, injured, Conte just wouldn't drop him.
Yeah, well, that's 100%.
Went into the World Cup, came back from the World Cup, just couldn't find form, and then he was getting switched out with Richarlison all the time. It just made no sense to me. And he lost all confidence. And like I said, like the last game, he didn't want to take shots. His dribbling's been a bit poor than what he's used to, but he's slowly growing into it. So I think Paratici's had a very good fairly good success rate with his buys. But I also think that maybe this season a lot of them may step up. Because RJR said loads of hits, but even more misses. Emerson for 25 mil, Galini 35 mil for Hill. I don't know if Hill was Paratici.
Yeah, he was. Lamella.
Richie 50, no CBs for Conte, no creative midfielder for Conte. Well, I think Conte wanted more of a box to box.
Yeah.
But I mean, RJR's on a roll. I don't think anyone has control really. Levy's the final say. That's why Levy dived in on the deals. For Spence. And apparently there was a few other deals that he came in last minute, and that's why it all got complicated when we pretty much wrapped up Porro, and then Levy was like, "Oh, we'll just drag it out until the end of the month because we don't want to pay wages." The biggest loss was Paul Mitchell, because I think him and Levy had a row, and Paul Mitchell left. That was when Poch was cooking. Poch was pretty much nearly won the league, got us far. We hit a few finals. But look, we've got a long way to go under Ange for me. Whether Levy helps him out or not is another story. I don't trust the bald-headed guy to actually do what needs to be done. I'm hoping they just get bored of making money and just end up selling. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I don't honestly, guys. Like, I'm not. We are not rich at all by all means, but I don't understand how much money you actually need to enjoy your life. Because I could tell you right now, I only need a handful of cash from Levy, and I'm enjoying the rest of my life very well.
I'd take Dyer's 800k wage because that's all he's worth, and I'll be happy.
He's not even. Well, I think he's on like 65k a week.
Yeah, but I'm saying Dyer's not worth anything over $1 million if we sell him. He's shit. So I'll take Dyer's 800k. I'll just take it for you, Levy. Don't worry about it, mate. And
I'll set myself up my life on 800k, mate.
100%.
I'll be able to buy a couple of businesses.
Definitely, man.
We are going to wrap it up soon, guys. But I know RJR is coming in with a question. Who is our DFO now? I'm not being funny. It's a genuine question yet. I don't know if you guys know, but Scott Munn isn't going to be our football director. He's going to be something else now. I think Levy kind of pulled the wool over our eyes. But Ange has requested a DOF. Yeah. So I genuinely don't know what's going to happen with that. I do think that maybe it's gonna dawdle until basically like Ange decides to go. If you don't get one, I'm going to leave. But then I don't know, guys. What do you reckon? Do you reckon I'm going to get a DOF?
Oh, look, it's really hard. We've been linked with so many, We're linked with so many, and it's just like we can't get them over the line. But for me, I thought Scott Munn would be, that role, but obviously not. So I mean, it's really hard to say. I think, it will help us a lot. Actually open our eyes a little bit more. Help Ange as well to get the players he wants as well. But then, at the end of the day, Levy's going to get himself involved in it, anyways. Even if we get a DOF like a director of football, Levy will involve himself anyways because that's what Levy does. He likes to get involved in this kind of stuff. So I mean, it's any point of getting one if Levy's just going to put himself in the situation, get himself involved in the negotiations. Because to be honest, he shouldn't be involved in them. It should be just director of football and the clubs. It should have nothing to do with Levy. Levy's just going to give the money to him. Say, I'll give you the money. You go get them. But no, Levy wants to get involved in it and negotiate to get it to the lowest price he can get it to, and then go, okay, I'll give you the money for it. So for me, look, it's really hard to try to get one in if Levy's just going to bring himself into the conversations.
100%.
Yeah, well, Chris has put at me. I suspect you're right, RE Levy with the money, but Ange said from the beginning he's working with what's in front of him. I think he has no choice. Yeah. But Ange is also a type of person that I think is good at developing players. You look at his team at Celtic. Some of those players should have, were, Rio Hatete was a player that no one knew about, and he brought him over and turned him into probably one of the best midfielders in the league. And you can, no matter what you say about the Scottish league, you've still got to, you can only play what's in front of you. And you look at the likes of Basuma, who we all knew had the talent. It just had to be played the right way. You look at Adoji, everyone said he couldn't play defensively. You look at Porro's improved. Romero's improved. I do think you're right. Ange will work what's in front of him, but Ange is also one of those managers that he's going to pick the out-of-the-box transfer. that may even appease Levy more than what people think. I do think, like Van der Ven, he wanted him at Celtic. Brennan Johnson, apparently that's an Ange target.
We bought Carter Vickers too.
We bought off us. I think we're actually going to go back in for Carter Vickers because he goes, if it's not going to work here, I need someone that's going to do it at the back for me.
Yeah.
And he was looking at bringing Carter Vickers back. But also, you know, he likes Sarr. He's put confidence in Sarr, and Sarr's just, you know, we all saw the talent he had. Well, we saw what we had against AC Milan last season when him and Skip dominated in that midfield. And Ange has just gone, you know what, like this kid's good enough. I think he can do a job. So, you're right though. I think Ange is also, like I said earlier on in the show, Ange just said it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. And I'm excited for what Ange can bring, especially, you know, him being an Aussie and us living out here in Australia. It's bringing the vibes. He's on the news every week out here, so don't be surprised, guys. If you're watching, there'll be a lot more Aussies in the Spurs community coming up in the next year, especially if Ange does well, because they love him out here. And I can tell you now, a few people close to me have already been converted to Tottenham supporters, even though last year they wouldn't even think about Spurs because they're not the norm. Last one before we do call the show, though, guys, because it is getting late. Audiences, I think we're going to sign more players that are versatile, like positions like BJ and VDV. I think you're right. I think Ange can mold players into the roles that he needs them to be. That's why he does, like Ben Davies can play on the left back, left centre back. That's why he likes he kept Royal. I do think that's why, you know, Højbjerg and Skip are still in the squad, even though Højbjerg was on his way out. Like so, Sonny can play across the front three. Brennan Johnson can play across the front three. Solomon can play across the front. Will probably play both wings.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of versatility in the squad, and possibly in January, hopefully we get those targets that Ange wants. So, but we are going to wrap it up, guys. It's 11:30 at night now here. I want to head to bed. Big ups to everyone that joined us today. Audio, RJR, Chris. We had Audio's been here since the start. Jacob from the start. Jonah, Uncle Merv. Big ups to you all. As I said, 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time will be every week on a Saturday night, which is 1 p.m. UK time. The only time it will change will be the Luton game because it is at 9:30 kickoff here. We will, 10:30. We will be doing it a bit earlier, but apart from that, guys, make sure you catch us every week. Like the video, subscribe to the Hotspur Hood and to Total Hotspurs. I will be putting the channel link into the description now. Head on over there if you haven't already. We appreciate it, guys. Let us know how you feel about the video, and make sure you take it easy, guys. Stay sane, because as a Tottenham supporter, we have to try and stay sane. Stay safe. Take it easy. And as always, guys, we say at Total Spurs, stay Spursy.
Stay Spursy, guys.
Stay Spursy, guys.